Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm coming to you from the Cheyenne River Tribal Council, where we were just talking about hemp. So I apologize. We're still talking about hemp here at the Cheyenne River Tribal Council. Welcome to our class. This is our first class. We're going to start getting. Thank you so much for having me. And we'll look forward to seeing how you guys do and helping help us. Okay. Yeah, I'm in. I'm on the hemp team. Okay, now I got to make sure I can share my own PowerPoint here too.
For the ceremony the next day.
Oh, I'll talk to you about that.
So welcome to the class. This is the first of, I believe it is 10 classes that we're going to be offering for Hemp 101. And this is the second time we've offered this class. Can y'all hear me still? Okay, good. This is the second time we've offered this class. We did it about 3 years ago, just in the beginning of the pandemic, and it was really, really interesting. And we had a bunch of students from around the country. So you're the second time we're trying to do this. And the reason is that hemp is, as you know, an economy that was illegal for a good 70, 80 years, and it's legal now. And so our interest is in how we bring this plant back into our economy, and the moment that we are in, which is a moment to change from a hydrocarbon economy to a carbohydrate economy. And the carbohydrate economy is hemp. Now, let me just make sure I got all my charges going here. Andrew, you might need to run and get my phone charger. My charger, it's white. I'm afraid that this is going to go south on me quickly. Does anybody have like a USB port charger? Go quick and run and get it so that we don't run out of juice here. It might die on me.
Okay. Extension cord.
You have an extension cord?
I don't have the charger that you need. Yeah.
I think I might be in my.
That's it.
Do you guys have one of those USB sized chargers? Or USC? You know, I was talking about a USC charger. Okay. Okay, we're going to hope that we don't have any problems with our getting going here, but welcome to the class. And this is Hemp 101, again, with the intention of kind of showing you an overview. This is the greatest hits portion of your hemp class. So I'm going to just start in a little bit with my PowerPoint, hoping that you all can see it. Let me see if I can get her going here. And I don't even know how many people are in this class yet, but I'm glad to see that you guys have joined us. Let me see if I can share screen. That'd be the way to do it, huh? I don't know. Just a second here. Now you see I got too much going on my screen. No. I can't believe that I just left that charger at the house there. Look at all those windows that are open here. Might have trouble getting on here.
See, I don't jump on my head out, so.
Okay, thank you.
Have fun.
Trying to share. What do you guys see? Can you see my PowerPoint at all yet? Or just my screen? Oh, yay, you can see my PowerPoint. Yay. That's a good start. That's what we're trying to do here. Okay, so welcome to Hemp 101. I work for Anishinaabe Agriculture Institute, and we're known as Hemp. And I've been growing fiber hemp under federal and state permits for 9 years now. And I did this because I really wanted to I believe in this plant, but I didn't just, start with the plant. It took me a long time to arrive at the plant. I probably could have arrived much earlier, but I didn't quite get to that place in my life where I could grow. But I've been farming for most of my life. I'm Anishinaabe from the White Earth Reservation. I should just say Ani Nindawe Mugadaduk. Hello, my relatives. Benesikwe and Jinakaz, Makwa and Odam. I'm Bear Clan, and I'm a farmer. And today I'm here to talk about hemp and to present this class to you. So this picture, can you all see that picture of me in the hemp field? Is that a yes? Thank you. The only person I could see here is Karen. Thank you, Karen. So this is me in the tribal hemp field on the White Earth Reservation in 2015. I'm a little worried about, yeah, so like, go to the house and get that big one, because this isn't gonna work here. I'll try it. But go get the other one. Quick, it's white. Yeah, I should have left it.
Where's your box?
Yeah, we're gonna try to plug this baby in here a little bit. So this is a tribal hemp field. My tribe, the White Earth tribe, grew hemp under a federal permit, I believe in 2015, or a state collaboration. And then the tribe decided that it no longer wanted to grow hemp. And it decided to, no, we're probably gonna have to just, it might be working now. We're gonna see what we can do. He's got to go get that one. He's got to come right there and back. My tribe decided to let me grow the hemp on the field because my tribe did not have interest in continuing in fiber hemp. So this is me in my fiber hemp field. What's that? Loud fan? Oh, this is me in my fiber hemp field on the White Earth Reservation. And the neighbor had called and asked about the noxious weeds. And I said, what do you mean, like the 9-foot tall hemp plants, right? Now, what I want to say about this hemp field here is that this hemp field was actually volunteer hemp. The tribe had grown the previous year, and in growing the previous year, the tribe had, as I said, done well with their hemp, seeded about 8 different varieties in, and then the tribe abandoned that field. And in abandoning that field, these plants came back as volunteers. So what that teaches us is a few things. First of all, hemp is pretty resilient. Second of all, hemp, they don't call it weed for nothing. You know, it really likes to grow. And so it's very, and you see how thick it is? That's really important. These are not plants that are spaced far apart. They need to be plants that are close together so they grow tall. Okay, so here's the next slide. This is my hemp farm. And this is my hemp farm, which is just south of the White Earth Reservation. It's on Highway 34. And this is during the pandemic. And this is what really got me kind of growing more in farming. And a lot of us, when we, during the time of the pandemic, we just went home and stayed home. Well, I did that for sure. And I did that with hemp. So at my farm, all these boys came to live with me. A couple of them are my grandsons, my little granddaughter next to me, my grandson behind me. And then they all came because I had horses. And so I became much more of a farmer during the time of the pandemic, which I think taught us a lot about that it's time to have local food and local agriculture and to take care of your families. And so we have been growing hemp, and these boys have been involved in it. And a lot of those boys stayed with me. And, so I raised some extra boys since then, but that's all good. So this is who taught me about hemp. And I just want to give some credit to Alex Whiteplume. We call him the Hemperor for a number of reasons, but he is. Alex grew the first hemp crop on a reservation, on Pine Ridge Reservation in the 1990s, I think is when he first put in his crop. And it was, of course, seized by the DEA, which was wrong. But, the DEA had criminalized hemp since 1938 with the Prohibition Act. And Alex's crop was, okay, my battery's running low here. I'm just going to hope that we have I might need to
switch over to mine.
Yeah. I'm going to just shift computers here. So just one second. Do you have my presentation on there?
Yeah.
Okay. And then here, I'm going to just send you the link. You guys might need to just take 1 minute here. Oh, someone needed to be let in. Look like, okay. And but Alex's field that we're looking at here, I'm going to stop sharing for 1 minute because I'm just going to jump computers. Are you all still there with me? I apologize, but it looks like my computer from this one meeting is running out here. And
Computer, I'll just.
huh?
You need my computer.
You just need the link. I'm going to send you the link right here. Okay, I send the link to Chloe. Chloe, I send you a link. Get on the link for me. My people can still hear me. Anyway, so the crop that you see in Alex's field there, that crop was illegal. And I thought that was pretty funny. Can you guys still see the picture of the video here? Or maybe I took it off and you can't see it. But okay, I'll put it back on here, and then we're just going to change computers really quick here. But the hemp that is around Alex's house is hemp that the DEA went and confiscated. And when they confiscated it, they shook the plants and they distributed the plants and they made the plants all grow really well. And so that crop that you're seeing there is, let me see where I lost my thing one more time. I can't believe I just lost it again. The hemp, I'll show you it's the same picture here. Can you see the picture again? Okay, cool. So all those plants were illegal plants. When they seized his crop, they shook them really well and they distributed seeds all over. And so there I am at Alex White Plume's house. And he's like, yeah, I can't touch these plants, but none of these belong to the DEA. And so hemp grows well. This is the other person who inspired me in hemp, and he inspired many of us, which is John Trudell. And John Trudell was a good friend of mine for a very long time. Are you able to get on?
Yep, I'm on.
And he always talked about hemp, and he said hemp is the way. And I spent a lot of time, I was privileged to spend a lot of time with Trudell and listen to him a lot. And I was really judgmental. Like, I didn't smoke marijuana. And I was like, oh, you just like hemp because you smoke marijuana. And it's true, he did smoke a lot of marijuana and it was great. But the point is that he was right about hemp. And it's not just for people who think that marijuana is the way to go. And hemp is quite a bit different than marijuana. It's the same plant, but it has a whole different purpose. And so that plant is what we're talking about here primarily is fiber hemp. So I'm going to move to talking about that. So I'm on slide 4. Can you move to that?
Slide 1, 2, 3. Yep.
Is it the plant? Okay, are you on?
Yep, I'm up. I just can't share my screen, so I have your Zoom, or I'm on Zoom, and then I have your conference call, but I'm not able to share the screen because I'm not the host.
How can did I join you? Hold on 1 second, we have technical difficulties.
Winona, just let me know who to make the host.
Oh,
Chloe.
Chloe Gunville.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So I apologize to y'all.
Try
I
now.
lost track of time because I'm at the Cheyenne River Tribal Council. We had a great hemp meeting, which lasted about 2.5 hours. And then I realized we was on class. So the Cheyenne River Tribal Council is helping me do this presentation. Thanks to them. Chloe's gonna get it. There's Chloe. That's my girl, Chloe. It's the best. Okay. Can you show your face, Chloe?
Yep. Great. I should be sharing. Is my face on there?
Can you see me now? Can you all see me at my new location?
Yes.
Can you see me? Talking over a
No.
woman's shoulder? Huh?
No, I can't see you. There's no you, just this room.
No, I could see you. You're in Chloe's screen.
Okay.
Okay, can
See
you
me
see
now
me
hanging
hanging out? Can you see me now?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, close that one.
Now we can see you. It's just you're not in your.
Because I moved computers because mine is dying because I didn't bring the charger. Okay, can you see my face now?
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
Can you see my face now?
yes.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm
yes, yes.
here as Chloe.
Yes.
Yep.
Good, so we back?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Jason, for assisting me in this. Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
How do we get to this one, Chloe?
To this or to the, which one?
Okay. So can you see this historic hemp mills of Minnesota slide?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right, so this is what hemp used to be. Until 1938, Minnesota had 11 hemp mills. This is what they looked like. Wisconsin had a similar number of hemp mills. And I believe that North Dakota was the largest hemp producing state in the country. Now, this hemp produced textile fabric. It produced canvas. The word canvas comes from cannabis, which I think is a super interesting fact. And the hemp also produced rope. And the best rope in the country was also known as hemp rope. So all of that was our was what was produced until prohibition. And so I kind of just feel like I'm saying, I just want to do that again. I am primarily focused on hemp textile production, which only if you look at the piece of the slide on the far right, you can see something that looks like batting, that you use for quilting, and that is the textile fiber. And do you want to bring me the textile fiber? The textile fiber is what you're using to make that, and that's what you use to make canvas. The other hemp, this is it right here. Oh, you're my hero. You unplug that one in, and then I'll go back over. You're my hero. Can you all see this one here? The hemp textile fabric, the hemp textile material. This is hemp fiber that came through. Can y'all see this okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. Okay. This is what they are exactly working on, is making this. Now the word canvas came from cannabis. And so I realized that all the sales of the colonists came from cannabis, came from hemp. And so there was a significant amount, all the sales were made with hemp, clothing was made of hemp. It used to be required that a farmer would produce a 1/4 acre of hemp and a 1/4 acre of linen or flax every year to make basic textiles. And so I just kind of want that era back when there was 11 mills, So let me just show you kind of the difference between plants. This slide here is a picture of our hemp, CBD hemp. This is what most people are familiar with. This is CBDs that I grew at one of our farms adjoining the White Earth Reservation. So sorry, I could move back to mine shortly, but this is, you can see that how this plant looks like a bush. That's your CBD varieties, and these are all females. And these hemp varieties, 1855. Thank you. Huh?
Like, no, it's not. It's for them. For your Okay.
This here, those are, I think this is Wonder Woman variety. So this is still below, this is what a marijuana plant would look like, but this is not marijuana. This is the kind of hemp that you're using to make CBD varieties or, food or medicines out of. And this I grew, this is the USDA. I asked them for a high tunnel, but they didn't want to give me a high tunnel because the USDA doesn't really care for Indians that much, I guess. But they, so this is my version of a high tunnel, which is my wigwam with some plastic on it. And that worked really well. But this is what most people are used to. This is what a marijuana variety looks like. And this is what a CBD hemp variety looks like. This is not what I'm primarily talking about, although we have one class, I believe, that is on CBD varieties. What I'm talking about is this kind of hemp. And this hemp that we see here, this hemp is fiber hemp. Now you can see how it's really tall. It looks kind of like bamboo. And this is coming off that same field that you saw me standing in the beginning. And this field is a field that grew kind of a set of varieties. There's probably just 13 different varieties in here, but they all grew very close together. It's about 50 seeds per, it's about 50 pounds per acre of hemp seeds. So they're grown very close together, and then they shoot straight up like that to make these like really kind of like bamboo. And so this is some of my family in our first hemp field, where we started this kind of production. And so, if you look at the last variety and this one, this has got to be 0.3%, under 0.3% THC to qualify as hemp. If it's over 0.3%, then it looks like marijuana. And there's a lot of fear around hemp and people, getting high on the field and stuff. And the point would be is like, if you really want to smoke this, you're not too smart, because it doesn't have any THC in it really. And even if it had 1% THC in it, why would you smoke that when you could just go to a dispensary like the Red Lake Nation and get 27% THC marijuana? That's what you want if you're going to be smoking. So I think it's really important to just kind of look at the reality of the situation. And so this is our first attempt at a field. Now, this here, we took it down with machetes and loppers. You can see one of my sons has loppers there. When you're starting with your hemp, you might want to just do a small field if you aren't equipped to do big stuff. And if you're just doing that, you can just take it down with a lopper. You could shock it so it stands up in a field, looks like little teepees, then you dry it. And we'll talk a little bit about that in this next slide. But when you do that, that's how you would process it, but you would take you'd be wanting to take the seeds off of it, because that's one of the big issues we have, is there's just not enough seeds of hemp to go around. And we need to be creating our seed varieties. Now here is a little bit about processing. Here is as I said, this is hemp that is not field retted. No, this is field retted, but it is not degummed. This hemp is a little bit stiff. And, you know, one of the things when you grow your hemp is that the hemp that grows in the field variety is got lignin in it, or it's called lignin in it. It's a glue that holds the hemp fiber to the hemp. The fiber is around it. The bast fiber is the outside bark, and the inside hurd is like the pithy wood section. That's what you make hemp hurd out of. And that is what you use for building materials. And holding the two together is this thing called lignin, and that makes it stiff. So this hemp could easily be twined into a rope. Could twine it into a rope. But this hemp, if you want to make like clothing, like, you know, jeans and stuff, you need to degum it. And so what we did is the way that hemp is degummed generally. China is the largest hemp producing country in the world, and their hemp is degummed with a lot of chemicals. And so our question was, like, before chemicals, because I don't want the chemicals. I don't want the fossil fuels. I want to do it all right for Mother Earth. And that hemp that is degummed is, huh? Did you find me? Hold on one second here. I'm changing. Here. I'll go back to my Zoom. Okay.
Turn it off.
I apologize for those technical difficulties. Are y'all still with me?
Yours is on mute.
Huh? We just gotta get my picture back up, right? This one was left on this, so we'll go back to here. Now I just gotta share this, girls. Help me share it again. Boom. Boom. Huh. We're back. This is field redding. Can you see it again?
It's on the screen.
Yes,
Perfect, thank you.
Yes,
I
but
apologize.
could you read what's on the screen? Because I can only see part of it.
Yeah, I can. And I could just explain it. So when we started growing hemp, you know, hemp is grown all over the world. It doesn't come from North America. Its origin is in China, in India, and in the Hmong people are some of the first hemp people, right? That grew the hemp. And so, but hemp adapts. And that's what we know, because that's why we have so much ditchweed all over North America. It just kept growing, right? But it turns out that if you're trying to process the textile material into the hemp fiber, what you want to do is you want to leave it standing in the field. And historically, hemp was cut, it was laid down, and then it would get wet, and it was called field redding, because Mother Nature will take some of that lignin away, that pectin away through the winter time, right? Because the freezing and thawing will cause the material to kind of biodegrade. It's called redding. And you don't want it to biodegrade too much, but you want it to take the lignin off so that it's easier to work with in the processing. Now, in China, when they degum, they use all kind of special chemicals. I didn't show those slides of that, but later on we have slides of that. But we don't want the chemicals. And so what we realized is that in our traditional way, when we would make twinings, we would use we would winter red it. We'd leave it in the spring, and we go for the plant in the spring to make our rope. because it was softer, because the freezing and thawing would break it down. And so when we started working on this, we decided that we want to go as close to nature as possible, which I think is really important because a lot of people told us to do this and do that. And I was like, how did the old people do it? And so what we did is we left our hemp in the field. And when we left our hemp in the field over the winter, it broke it down. And so it separated the lignin out. And you got to be careful, like how in the old days they do is they cut it and they leave it down, they let it lay down and then they flip it and then they bale it, right? And if you don't flip it and if it's down, we found it gets mildewy. And so it's easier maybe to leave it standing because it doesn't get so much mildew. Now I'm telling you this because we're all learning, because something that was illegal for 70 or 80 years, it's hard to figure out how to do it again and hard to figure out how to do it right. And so our work at Anishinaabe Agriculture and at Winona's Hemp has been to try to figure out how to grow hemp in a sustainable way that respects the plant and builds the industry. So field redding is what we call it. Now, a little bit about growing hemp. I'm giving you kind of the greatest hits. The class that you're going to have is going to teach each of these components. We have a class on how to grow hemp, right? This is kind of just the basics of it. So get your seeds, 50 pounds an acre. That's what you need. It's you need nitrogen in the soil. You can't grow it in like super sandy soil. It needs nitrogen. Hemp doesn't like wet feet. Don't grow it in a swamp. Grow it on dry land. It likes its feet drain. It likes its feet not wet, but it need to have enough water, and it likes it hot. Some like it hot. Hemp likes it hot, but you know what I'm saying. So these are things for people who garden. They might know some of these things, right? Having said that, plant it 3/4 of an inch deep. Plant it very close together, like this far apart, like this far apart, something like that. Maybe this far. Ways to seed. You're going to learn this in the class, but you can hand broadcast, like throw it out in a small field, right? And then you just rake it over. That's what we did first. You don't need like fancy stuff, but it's kind of like planting grass seed or something. Rake it over, just get it covered up. But then you get we have like little garden seed planters or grass seed planters that you could roll through. Use one of those, right? That's what I'm saying is it's not so hard to do that. But just keep in mind, because this class is about kind of thinking about hemp, and then hopefully some of you grow and we have success, right? But this is what we learned from growing it. Now, why would you want to grow hemp? Because that's the solution to so many problems in the world. That's why you would want to grow hemp. Hemp sequesters carbon at the highest rate of any field crop. I'm going to say it one more time. Hemp sequesters carbon at the highest rate of any field crop. So in the world that we have, which has way too much carbon in it, what you really want is you want to get the carbon out of the air. And plants do that. And so how that happens is that the plant hemp might grow 6 feet in 2 months. It might grow 8 feet. At Sisseton, it grew 9 to 12 feet. Some of ours grew 9 feet easy. When it grows that fast, you think about it, and then the hemp has to pull down all that carbon dioxide into the soil, into the plant, freeze it in. And so that's why it sequesters carbon at the highest rate of any field crop. And so hemp can replace, many things. And I was going to do a little bit more on prohibition, but, we could talk about that later in the class. But when they criminalized marijuana in the Marijuana Prohibition Act in 1938, people talked about how they criminalized marijuana. Well, I think they criminalized it because of hemp, because hemp had the potential. They say that 100 years ago, we had a choice between a carbohydrate economy and a hydrocarbon economy. A carbohydrate economy or a hydrocarbon economy. And we made the wrong choice. The carbohydrate economy was hemp that you could make paper out of. You could make food out of. You could make oil out of. You could make cars out of. You could make canvas out of, because the word canvas comes from cannabis. You could make everything out of that today you make out of fossil fuels. and you didn't need the fossil fuels. And we all know that we don't need the fossil fuels. But in criminalizing it, all of these things were put aside, and so the industry that clear cuts our forests for trees continues. In the cotton industry, if you look at the statistics on cotton needs twice as much land as hemp. A quarter of the world's pesticides is for cotton. It needs, 4 times as much water as hemp does. And these are things that all have impact on the environment. And so if there's a way that hemp could replace, once again, the economies that have been created in the fossil fuel industry of textiles, of building materials, of paper, all of that replaced with hemp, that'd be a really good thing. So this is a little bit about that. In each of the classes, we're going to have a class that's going to be just on textiles. We're going to have a class that's going to be, just on building materials, which is what we're getting into now. So all of these things, you can do with hemp. And some of the basic building blocks we'll talk about are do you want to pass me the hemp architecture stuff? And we'll talk a little bit more about them, during the course of the class. But this is hemp wood. Can you see this?
No.
This is flooring. We put this in the museum that we built in Park Rapids, or that we made in Park Rapids. We took out the other floor, we put in hemp wood floor. This is hemp insulation from Hempitecture. I put in 6-inch insulation into my house. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is hemp structural lumber. What if you didn't have to cut your trees? Wouldn't that be great? Right? That's what this class is about. This is the greatest hits portion of the class. Different classes will talk about the specifics of it, but the potential for hemp is the revolution. We call this the new green revolution because it has the potential to transform agriculture, transform the materials economy, and certainly transform tribal economies. So that's, and make them equitable. That's what we want, is an equitable economy. I think everybody wants that. All right, so a little bit more about us and our farming. I told you I've been farming for 9-10 years now. This is my 10th year farming hemp. I have federal, state permits. The reason I have federal and state permits is because my tribe does not have a hemp program. We have a marijuana program. And nationally, what happened is that marijuana is like everybody loves marijuana. But, and so every tribe or a lot of people are just like, I want to do marijuana. I want to grow marijuana. I want to sell marijuana. That is really cool. But this is cooler. Should I just say that? And why this is cooler is because it can transform everything, not just your mind. It could transform the world, right? So this is us in our crop. This is Ron Chilton, who I worked with for many years, and now I have the privilege of working with his son. And you'll see he's going to present later in the class. But this is our field of dreams. This is us putting in our first crop of hemp on this field. Ron Chilton is who put it in. We had different guys, University of Minnesota, big help on, soil testing, this, that. And the thing about this field that's super cool is that this field adjoins my grandchildren's school. You can see it in the background. And this field previously was owned by R.D.O. Offutt, who's a really big potato farmer who has all kind of chemicals in his potatoes and was overspraying my village, overspraying my school, overspraying my kids. And it's just heartbreaking what he's done to our land. And so, we really wanted this field, and I didn't think he'd give it to us, but Ronald Offutt dislikes me greatly if he's on the line, and I'm sorry that you feel that way, Ron, but his daughter does not. And so his daughter, Christy Offutt, sold us this land. And I said, I'm gonna spend the next 50 years fighting you, or you could sell us that land so that we could try to do something good with it. And I don't have to worry about my kids getting sprayed every day, right? So this is a dream field where we're taking something that was once really unsustainable and toxic and turning it into something that's really cool. Now, just to be clear, to do that, you got to heal the land. And everybody here knows what industrial agriculture does to land. It sucks the lifeblood out of soil, sucks the lifeblood out of your water. And so you got to add organic fertilizer, a lot of chicken manure, And now we're working on the combinations between like fish guts and manure and, all kind of goods to put out there to see what we could get because you need nitrogen. But, you start with a field of dreams. Then you see my granddaughter. I got a couple granddaughters in there and a little niece. They're in the field a little bit later, so you can see like 3 weeks later, hemp field, there you go, right? And then that field did not get to be super tall. This is that field later. And I don't know what we're all looking at. Someone said point at that or something. I don't know, but it's just kind of a funny Indian photo. But this is a hemp field that is really for oil seed. It's not for, and so I'm just saying some hemp is for the seed that you can make hemp hearts out of, hemp food, hemp milk. That's your seed, your seed hemp or your oil seed hemp, right? All hemp has it's kind of like buffalo. I don't want to say that, that's too sacred a thing to say, but it's like every part of the plant has good potential. And that's what's so important about it, right? But this here is the field later, and you can see that, it was successful. We could have had more nitrogen fertilizer in it. So this year we're working harder to get our fertilizer in our field. And then this is kind of our goals on hemp. So we're behind 2024. I think we're going to get the acreage that we were trying to do in 2023, right? But why I'm showing you this, so this is the harvest goals for our organization, Anishinaabe Agriculture, with the cooperative we're developing. And the reason that we're developing a hemp cooperative is because if you want to make this here hemp wood, you need 750 acres of hemp for a facility, right? The facility that made this is in Kentucky. Now, there should not be one place in the country to make hemp wood. You understand what I'm saying? There could be several places to make this, right? But to do this, you need 750 acres. And so this is really cool looking wood. But having said that, then you aren't growing hemp every year on it. You have to rotate your crop, right? And so to rotate your crop, you might need 3,000 acres. Because if you have a crop rotation that is 3 or 4 years, and maybe you grow beans, maybe you grow corn, or maybe you grow alfalfa. Y'all follow me on this? Then you need to have enough acreage to supply the industrial level. And that's why this is so important, because people think about marijuana and they're like, I'm going to grow my variety. I'm going to offer Blue Dream or whatever it is. And I'm going to have the best and I'll be the one. This is not that. This is the one that you got to have a whole bunch of friends in order to build the value added industry that will make hemp housing, will make hemp clothing, will make hemp wood, right? All that needs a lot of people. And so we believe in the cooperative model. There are, I was here presenting to the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe. It was very exciting presenting to the council. They have a hemp ordinance. They're issuing hemp permits, and I'm hoping that this tribe grows hemp. And then I hope that this tribe figures out how to build buildings with it. And I'm on their team, right? But my point is that two things. One, farmers mostly are not going to be able to get 1,500 to 3,000 acres. Most tribal farmers cannot do that, right? And they certainly aren't going to have the equipment to do that. That's why you need a cooperative. You need someone who has the equipment to help seed it. You need somebody who maybe coaches you a little bit to make sure you got everything going, right? And then you need to cut it with we'll talk about that later in the class, but you need the equipment to cut it. So you need same thing you use for hay, basically, a sickle mower. And then you need to bale it. And then if you want the seeds, you need to combine it. So that needs value-added equipment. And that isn't even to turning it into housing, right? So that's why you need a cooperative. And I'm just saying that, and that is we used to have a lot of cooperatives in Indian country in the 1930s. In fact, we're cooperative people. That's what we are, right? We're cooperative people. And so this is not about me, what I'm going to do. This is about we. It has to be about weed, because in order to make it work, you got to have a lot of pals in the industry. In order to grow 27 to 20, 601 acres, and that amount of hemp that you produce on that, that's the estimate. Maybe that make like 50 houses. How cool is that? Right? But you got to get to that on it. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a little bit about our organizing work. These two women were at the meeting today on Cheyenne River. This is Madonna Thunderhawk and Marcella Gilbert, her daughter. They're here in Cheyenne River. And about 5 years ago or 4 years ago, I gave them a little pile of hemp seeds. And I said, show me a picture of you and your hemp seeds. And this is the picture they sent me, which I thought was really sweet. Because, these women are really, really, I'm gonna use the term badass women. They stand up for rights. I worked for Madonna when I was 18 years old. I was terrified of her then, and I'm still terrified of her. But look, when you grow hemp, you get all happy. So I just want to say that, because it's really a good thing for people to be able to grow something. I think secretly a lot of us like to grow something that was illegal for 70 years. It's great. But more than that, you get to be part of the change, Okay, so this is Red Lake. This is when I gave seeds to Sherilyn Spears. See how happy people are? This is my point, is people are happy when they get their hemp seeds, right? She's like, look, I have my hemp seeds, and so Red Lake is doing a hemp project up there. She's raising buffalo, and she's raising the hemp so that she can feed some of the really high in amino acids and good quality things to her buffalo. So there's so many things to do with hemp, right? And so I'll later, and we'll talk about hemp food, like in it, and I'll show you, I got these hemp pellets. I'm picking some up tomorrow from her that were like the crushed hemp seeds or the leftover from making hemp oil. They press it into like hemp pellets for horses. Now, the thing is that she was going to feed it to her buffalo. And she looks at me, I came see her, and she says, oh, Winona, I only have a little bag and I have 40 buffalo. Why don't you just take this for your horses, right? Because like, what's a little bag going to do for your buffalo herd, right? You ain't going to like. And so my horses loved it. So I'm going to start selling hemp horse treats. Now that's the only kind of hemp food you can usually sell, because under the federal regulations, which are super crazy prohibitive, you cannot feed hemp to an animal that you eat. So chickens and hemp, although chickens love hemp seeds, no, right? Makes their eggs more orange. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's all good stuff. Hemp to cattle, no, cannot do it, right? But hemp to horses, since I'm not eating my horses, we're all good, right? But my point is like, this is why it's just an emergent market, and it's an emergent industry. And you got to do something with the seeds. You're going to use them to grow, but part of the benefit is you can make hemp hearts. You see what I'm saying? So this is what she's doing up there. And then this is one of my favorite guys of all time. This here is Breon Lake. He is from the Sisseton Dakota Reservation. And he came with a semi, not a semi, he just came with a big trailer, and he took all kind of hemp seeds to Sisseton. We distributed a whole bunch to Cheyenne River and a whole bunch to Sisseton. And if you see those seeds that he's got there, those seeds in that picture are French. You see that? That's a French seed variety, right? And so part of this whole discussion is that most of the seeds that are available, that are legal seeds, that had come in less than 0.3% THC, those seeds come from China. Those seeds come from France. I froze, my face froze, but you can hear me, right? I look funny in my picture, but I froze. But they come from France, they come from Spain, they come from Canada, and that's great. But we want to, first of all, own our seeds in the future, right? We don't want to be the people that import our seeds from France for 20 years. That'd be dumb. You need to land race the varieties of hemp. That's what you need to do. And you need to own the seeds, and you need to broaden the genetic diversity of the seeds, because genetic diversity is what is sustainable in agriculture. It is not sustainable to have a monocrop, right? So this is what we're trying to do, is to figure out how to grow those out. Now, part of what we got to do, like at Sisseton, they collect feral ditchweed. I just say that, feral ditchweed, right? all our tribes have tremendous amount of, like, hemp grow illegally on the reservation, off the reservation. They don't call it ditchweed for nothing. And so what we know about those plants is that they're super tough. If you survive being a criminal for 70 years and you're still flourishing, man, you're a tough plant, right? So we're doing research in my community on my farm, Winona's Hemp Farm. I'm the feral hemp research girl because I like wild stuff like feral hemp, right? And we're breeding it in a project with the University of Minnesota with varieties that are known for fiber, because that's what I'm interested in, right? And I'm trying to get the extra THC out of them and make it not branching, but keep, in our test plots, what we found is that the feral seeds exceed the domestic seeds by about 2 feet, right? And so that means that the ferals are happy. And so one of our things that we have to do is we have to own the seeds of the future. And how we're going to own those seeds of the future is we're going to go and we're going to collect these seeds because they belong to our tribes and our people. Collect those seeds and start growing them out with some research permits or whatever you got to do until we get them to be perfect seeds. And then we need to own the seeds. So I said that like 4 times, own your seeds. That's what seed sovereignty is about, right? Because right now, that bag of hemp seeds he's got, that's probably a $200 bag of hemp seeds. Now, I was sitting here trying to convince the Cheyenne River Tribal Council that they should go and buy, $2,000 worth of hemp seeds and go give them out. But my point is that not everybody can afford hemp seeds, particularly if you're scaling. And so over time, we need to own them. The other thing is that if the hemp seeds started in like France or they started in Spain, they aren't necessarily the same seeds that you want to grow on Sisseton Reservation. You want to grow seeds that are more adapted to our climate conditions and to our soil conditions. So that's what we're trying to do here is to encourage seed saving and encourage research and development of indigenous seed stocks. Okay, so here's us being super happy distributing hemp seeds last year. Now these ones I think are the Chinese hemp seeds. I don't know. Yeah, if you look at the label on it, you can see, I think it says they're like Chinese, right? So this is just showing you that how much hemp seeds there are out there, and then how great it was to be able to distribute these hemp seeds. A lot came to Cheyenne River, a lot went to Sisseton, and so I'm hoping that we can grow out the programs there, and in other communities too. But they're available, online and commercially, or, through the course of this class, we'll help provide you with places you could buy seeds. Start with some little ones, or depending on where you're at in your production. But this is us as a cooperative. I think I, started talking about why you want to be a cooperative. There used to be all kind of co-ops. In fact, there's still some big co-ops, and the largest co-ops in the world, the largest worker-owned cooperatives in the world are Basque cooperatives. Those are indigenous people from Spain. Those are called the Mondragon cooperatives, and it's the 7th largest industry in Spain. And so I'm like, go co-op, right? And what you want to do in the co-op, and what we're working on in our Indigenous Hemp and Cannabis Farmers Cooperative, which we'll talk about during the course of this class, is to share, like this is class 101, share technical knowledge, share, growing knowledge, and then figure out what equipment you're going to need to not only produce hemp, but to turn it into hemp wood or hemp textiles or hemp medicine or hemp milk or hemp building materials, right? And no farmer is going to own that themselves. And the other thing that we learned is that, size matters. You don't want to be so giant that you are unable to, we learned that in the pandemic. You can't get it, and you want to be able to produce it at an energy at a level that is sustainable for your region. And our region is really set up for this. But what is the hemp mills that they had in Minnesota in the 1930s are probably the right scale that we want now. Everybody says big is better, but it is not, because you want regionally scaled hemp industries. And we'll talk about that a little bit later when I talk about textiles. So this is a little bit about our you know, why we want to do this as a benefit as farmers. But this is how I started a little bit on the textiles. So to be, you know, truthful about the textile industry, where's that bag? Is it someplace to know my hemp bag? My grandmother worked in a sweatshop. My grandmother made pocketbooks in New York City in a sweatshop. You see this here? This is a Patagonia bag. This is my hemp. We grew this the hemp on the White Earth Reservation in northern Minnesota. So this, we'll talk about this partnership later, but say I'm trying to get you basically canvas, right? So I don't know nothing about weaving. So I go see, I meet these really great Dene people. This is the Vandever family, and they're weavers. And Shay Vandever, the woman, made this, and they're founding members of the cooperative. So I was like, who knows how to weave? I said, I go see the Navajos, right? And so the Navajos certainly know how to weave high-end textiles. Well, the Navajo textile economy, it's illegal to grow hemp at Navajo. It's illegal. And so we provide hemp, and they worked on it, and they did this. They mix it with their churro sheep wool. And there's, you know, the far right on this is hemp that is turned into, it's just 100% hemp, and that's rope. And that's what they use for, you know, rope, all kind of rope, hanging rope, best hanging rope, that's the word. We would use it for baling twine, use it for ships, all that. And then all the way over, it's more and more blended. And they got 60-40, 50-50 hemp wool. Hemp wool, very good. The hemp is scratchy, the wool is soft. The hemp makes it more resilient. The tensile strength of hemp is 3 times that of cotton. So they're using it for the up and down ones too. I forget what that's called, you know, warp, wap, you know what I'm talking about. The up and down ones on the weaving. Instead of using cotton, use hemp thread. You know, so this has been a high, like one of these end up on a fashion model in New York, on New York Fashion Week. And some of this hemp ended up being certainly as a part of Indian market in the Southwest, and much higher price for the hemp, you know, when able to, when mixed with, it was like a 60-40 blend, but the wool hemp blend rugs went for a higher price, you know, so it's a good value-added economy. And so this is artisan level of hemp weaving. My interest is in the hemp level, and we'll have a whole class on that grows to this. But the challenge with this bag here, which I showed you several times now, says Patagonia on it. The hemp for that bag we grew, and then that hemp went to North Carolina to be decorticated, went to Virginia to get degummed, went to Mexico to get spun, went to Washington State to get woven, went to California to get cut and sewn. Now, that's too far for hemp to go, right? Now, we used to have a textile economy in the North. We had Bemidji Willow Mills, we had Thief River Falls Linen Mills. We used to have a North American textile economy. We used to have one in the Southeast. But now about 75% of the world's textiles are produced offshore in China, everywhere else. And so hemp allows the redevelopment, the essential redevelopment of a textile economy. There's the scale of the Navajos, and then there's the scale that made this. And that's what we're trying to figure out at Anishinaabe Agriculture, is how a tribal community or a group of tribes and farmers could produce hemp bags instead of sending them so far away, right? That's why you also need a cooperative, is because you got to put your minds together to make a good thing. And you could have so many consultants come in. I talk to so much smoke mirrors guys. I do this, I got this, we got this. No, they don't. This is the only bag that has been made with North American hemp, right there. And it was made with North American hemp, but it traveled all over to get to happen, you know, and the future is local. The future is bioregional. The future is regional, tribal economies, non-tribal economies. And, you know, as you clear here, you know, you hear me say this, I want to be not on the menu, I want to be at the table. I don't want somebody to come in and buy our hemp and process it and make the money. I want farmers and tribes to make the money, right? Okay, this is hemp rug, hemp insulation. This insulation is made in Idaho. There's an example of it. This is second class hemp fibers as opposed to first grade, and it can be made at all different weights. We're working on a pilot project right now. You see this here? Everybody see this pretty good? Right? All my props here. This here, so what we want to make is we have a pilot project we're working on with our hemp that's intended to take hemp wool blend and make, you know how they use that black plastic in farming, in organic farming? I hate black plastic. But what if you could do weed suppression maps out of this, right? And then things are much better. That's what I want to do. And so we have a pilot project that we just got funded by the Minnesota Department of Agriculture. We was already halfway there. And we're going to try to deliver some of those this spring as our first pilot project. But, it's secondary, it's B fiber as opposed to A fiber, which is what you're going to end up with for your fancy textiles. Y'all follow me pretty good? I don't see all your faces, so I'm just looking at those I see, but it looks like you guys got it. So, okay, now this is welcome to cool. This is hemp housing. Okay. Now, I did this insulation. So this is my farmhouse, but I did this insulation 6 inches thick in in addition to one of the houses. So I was like, that's cool insulation. This is made by these cats named Hempatecture. Hempatecture is in Idaho. They only have one of these facilities. This is cool stuff. And they have one, I think, in Quebec, right? I love those guys. But I don't think that that's what we want to do. This is what I think we want to do, which is these hemp panels, right? And what's really cool about these panels, these were made by Homeland Hempcrete in Bismarck, North Dakota. Now, I'm going to tell you honestly that we're going to make these panels ourselves in the future because we got the wood and we got the hemp, and I don't need to ship it to Bismarck to do it. Does that make sense to y'all? You understand what I'm saying? We could do this thing, right? Okay, so what they did is those panels are about 6 feet wide. And so this is an addition, a 20 by 16 addition, I think, onto my house, onto my farmhouse, right? You saw those kids are in there. I can't stay in there. There's too much boys. So I needed another addition. I needed a little addition, right? So this is my crib on the house, right? So those panels, what they did is that they take hemp hurd, which is these little pieces of hemp. Here's a piece of hurd kind of like this. It's like little, I don't know where this, can you guys see this little bit here? It's like, looks like cardboard it looks like little pieces. This is less fiber, and this is more the stalk, right? You take that stuff and you mix it with lime. And that's what they're mixing it with, lime. And they call it hempcrete, but it's really hemp lime. And that hemp lime, you blend it together and you put it in this slurry gun, this slurry that you spray into these forms. Now, people have been doing that. These guys called Americhandra, I think they're called. They've been doing 2-story houses. They've been taking old houses. They've been buffing them up a little bit and then just blowing this in as a fire retardant, higher R level insulation for hemp. For a house, right? But this is a foot thick. It's got an R value of, I think, R24. And it has those panels came in 6 feet wide. I think they're mostly 6 feet wide. The windows were already cut out. They just set up a little form on it. And we could lift them. 3-4 guys could lift them and put them up. And that addition was put up in about 4 hours, 5 hours, something like that. Not the roof, but the walls. And then we built the roof off of it, right? And so to me, that's a housing of the future, is you figure out how to do that. They delivered it on a semi from Bismarck. They unload the semi. We had a little forklift for unloading, but a lot of it, 3, 4, 5 guys pick up. And so it's light. And so to me, the question is also, what's the appropriate technology to use? Not just is it cool? But if you got to have a nuclear reactor to make it, it's not so cool anymore. But if you can make it and you can scale it in a way that a bunch of people could put together a hemp house, that's great. And tribal housing is it's such a demand, and housing that is more resilient, in the times that we are in is super important. This is I think she's on. I wonder if she's actually on, Tracy. she is Tracy, who's one of our board members, Tracy Strong. She's in my hemp house showing, you know, kind of the thickness of the wall and the window spot in it. And you know, I just think it's really an elementary and a valuable technology. And for me, being a person who lives in northern Minnesota, I see these guys come in and I see the building industry, which is going to keep growing because people need houses. And they just want to cut down trees. And what if we could eliminate that pressure on our forests by growing all of the building materials, you know, for the hemp in itself, or for the house in itself? And that's what the potential of this is. And places that don't have trees, like, oh, I should just say Cheyenne River since I'm here. Like, what if you could, you know, grow the hemp and build your own houses with your own hemp? That's your ticket. That's your ticket. So this is a tribe that grew. I mean, they didn't grow, they borrowed the hemp from, I think they got this, I don't know where they got this hemp from. They got this hemp from probably Nebraska, but this is a Lower Sioux Tribes hemp housing project. And they built that with hempcrete. Now they used a different form than we did with ours. In the panels that you saw here, those panels were constructed in Bismarck. And they spray it into the form, and then they had like plywood on both sides. And that plywood on both sides, then they just let it set. And when it set and it cured, it didn't take like a day, 2 days to cure. And then they took the plywood off and voila, they had panels, right? Now that is the easiest way to do it. Now these guys here, they did this house. There's some pictures available of them, but they built it vertically. And so they did the same form, and then they sprayed the hemp in, and then they let it cure, and they did some more like that. So that also works. But I believe that the old panel method, I think that's your ticket, you know, is the panel method for housing. Many ways to build, but you need to have the correct raw materials. Hemp lime, that's your raw materials on it. Okay, so that's a little bit about housing. We're going to have a whole other thing presenting on housing. This is your greatest hits, what the class is going to discuss, right? This is your hemp plastics. I'm not a fan of single-use plastics at any level, but some tribes and some people are looking at how to replace plastics. I'm like, just tell them to bring their own bottle. But my point would be is that packaging materials could be replaced with hemp that biodegrades. And so I'm looking at how you adapt to this kind of the economy that is, and we figure out what it is that we need, right? And in this, you know, so just to be clear, like this little hemp piece here, you see kind of, well, these little pieces here, when they get little tiny like that, which you can't even see, but that's what you need for the plastic. And so I'm telling you this because the hemp itself, the big stuff, this here, this is hemp. It is just cut down, laid flat, stuck together with some soybean paste, baked, makes wood. They're making cabinets out of this. This is hemp wood dudes, Kentucky. Very nice stuff, right? This is whole hemp then. This is not decorticated. This is decorticated fiber, right? You see this pretty good? This is mine. It's hand decorticated fiber. Looks like, you know, I don't know. I think it looks like wig. That's what I think it looks like. It looks like a blonde wig. But you get it, that's long fiber, little bitty pieces of it, little bitty pieces. That's what you use for plastics. Little bitty pieces. That's what you use for paper. Little bitty pieces. And so many things you can do with the hemp, right? No part wasted. Hemp batters. We're gonna have a whole class on this one, right? Now, what if you didn't have to mine the rest of the world and mine every indigenous community for some precious metals or unobtainium? We'll just call it that, unobtainium. Hemp is part of the answer for that. Now, if Elon Musk would not waste his money on dumb things like SpaceX, instead would work on something like hemp batteries, that'd be rock star of hemp. But I'm just saying is that there's a bunch of little community guys or smart guys. They're going to be coming on, a couple of them, to talk about their work in hemp batteries. And that's, first of all, you don't need my whole lecture on how we just need to use less energy, get a train. Not everybody needs an electric car. That's lecture one. But lecture two is that if you're going to have batteries, try to make it out of something like hemp. That'd be a way better plan than what we got. You guys all still with me pretty good? Am I talking too fast for anybody? Or are we good?
Good.
Okay. Now, hemp paper. Oh my God. How cool is this, right? So how do you want to save the forests? What if you took the building pressure off of some of the forests? Oh my gosh, and what if you took the paper pressure off the forest? This is why hemp is illegal, because the logging companies wanted to keep logging, right? And hemp, 20 weeks versus 20 years. That seems like fundamentally 1 acre hemp equals 4 acres of trees and pulp production. You see what I'm saying? This is one of the things that I think I'm going to really be interested in pushing in northern Minnesota. If any of you are there, like that Blandon Paper Company, why don't they do the darn right thing? Go hemp. But maybe we just got to do it. There's a few hemp paper people that are out there, and we'll be talking to some of them later in the class. This is the answer for why you want to do this. But why you also want to do this is this simple reason, which is that hemp sequesters carbon at the highest rate of any field. Did I just say that to everybody? Hemp sequesters carbon at the highest rate of any field crop. So what does that mean? That means that's awesome. Because what do we got to do in the world that we are in now? We got to sequester carbon because we are making a mess. Some guys make a bigger mess than others. But my point would be, let's be the people that sequester carbon through growing hemp. Because in doing that, we're able to sequester massive amounts of carbon into the soil. Now, how does that happen? I already said, grows really fast like this, grows 6 feet, 8 feet, and it sucks all that carbon into the plant. And when it sucks that carbon into the plant, it's not in the air. That's carbon sequestration. That's what you want to do. And then you turn it into cool things like paper or building, it stays in it. That's what you want to do. And even that sequestration is why hemp is good for batteries, because it's able to make it's graphene. That carbon sequestration allows it to produce a really high level of graphene, which is part of supercapacitors and batteries into themselves. So that's a different class, but hemp sequesters carbon at the highest rate of any field crop. And so the questions of, we're looking out there and the latest stupid idea is carbon sequestration pipelines. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. The answer to sequestering carbon is don't do dumb stuff in the first place. And the second part of the answer is sequester it with hemp. Just let plants sequester your carbon. Don't come up with new bad idea to sequester carbon. Just sequester it with plants. And I'm saying this particularly to North Dakota, which always makes really bad decisions. And once North Dakota at one point was the largest hemp growing state in the country. And I was like, show your pride, North Dakota. Be the largest hemp growing state in the country again. That's going to be a little bit of work, but maybe the tribes will provide the leadership because obviously the state will not. Okay. Oh, how here's some figure on it. Now, you Google this stuff. I'm just showing you. But I'm saying, this is basics. 1.63 tons of carbon dioxide is removed from the atmosphere every 4 months from hemp, every ton of hemp. So if you have 12 tons of hemp a field, in an acre, I'm saying you got a lot of carbon sequestration growing on because it's growing so quickly, right? All of these, in the course of this class, this is kind of an informal class, but we are encouraging you all to do research papers on something that interests you and to help increase the knowledge and education on each of these subjects, right? But carbon sequestration, now look, you look there and I'm looking at these federal grants and state grants and everybody's talking about sequestering carbon and they got all kind of crazy ideas. Well, just grow a lot of hemp. That's why we need these cooperatives to get going or just to start moving towards, things that make more sense, in the hemp than the other ideas. And then this idea is the best idea ever. Now, of course, this is crazy chart. This is bioremediation in hemp. We're gonna have a class on this too. Okay. This is greatest hits. Did I already tell you this? Greatest hits of the program, the class that you're just starting. Now look at this here. So Chernobyl nuclear power plant, what did they do for the accident? Hemp. That's what they did. They did bioremediation with hemp. And the reason is kind of described in this chart, which I don't know how legible it is. And this is some kind of a, persistent organic pollution that they're pulling, but it's very good at heavy metals. And it's because when it grows so tall, it also grows deep roots. And those roots are really aggressive because those roots have to also feed the plant. And so in that rapid movement of the plant, it causes it pulls stuff out of the soil and it helps to neutralize it. And so we've been working with those same Navajo farmers you saw, and they're not working on Navajo reservation because that would be illegal. So they're working off of the Navajo reservation. And anybody who needs like bioremediation, Navajo's number one. So much uranium mines, so much oil, gas contamination. A lot of these tribes, super fun sites. This is what they're doing, and they're finding that 2-3 years in, the soil tests come back much lower levels of heavy metals. Bingo. Now the question is, what can you do with the hemp when so some of it, this is a little bit out of my field, but we'll have a class on that. What is bioremediation? Why do you need it? But they pull the, it helps to neutralize and deconstruct the toxins. However, some of the toxins are likely still in the plants. So I'm not eating these plants and I'm not wearing them, right? But maybe we are the people that make batteries out of these same plants. I don't know. You see what I'm saying is that there are problems that have been created by bad decisions in industrial society that there is no easy answer for. I'm just saying you got to start somewhere, right? And I'm also saying that in the case of, I think the case that we're bringing on is there's some really cool people in Maine at Urban Upland. No, it's called, there's a Maliseet people in Maine, and the indigenous people in Maine are working on a former military base that is full of toxins that was returned to the tribe. And so what they are using to test for bioremediation there is hemp. So if we can, start cleaning up some of these military bases, of which there are many adjoining our tribal communities, the military is the largest polluter in the world. If we could start cleaning up some of that with hemp, that'd be awesome. And that's what I'm saying is that there's work underway, and you're going to have a whole class on bioremediation. All right. On my last few slides on this, and then I'm going to open for some questions, and then I think you guys will be like, oh my God, she talks so long. Okay. This is equipment. Oh my God, look at this crazy looking equipment, right? Now this here equipment is from China. This is field decorticators from China. Why would I want a field decorticator? Because I got a field full of hemp, but I might not want to haul the whole field someplace off. So I bought one of these field decorticators from China, and we used it. There's us using that. There's it, and we got it pretty, we got our hemp down. We didn't get it to this required more cleaning, right? But it basically separates the fiber out from the herd, right? And that's a really dangerous piece of equipment. Should I just say that? Do not operate that piece of equipment if you are not ready for it, right? But my point would be is that, oh my God, there's no hemp production equipment in this darn country. This is the fine people who sold me that equipment. It's from Alibaba in China. This is my Christmas card from them, which I thought was just really sweet. But what is the point of this? It's like, if you're going to own an industry, you might as well figure out how to produce your own darn equipment, right? Rather than importing every piece of relevant hemp equipment from China. And that's what's happening. We bought that piece of equipment at Field Decorticator for maybe $1,500, I forget. Then I spent $300 getting it shipped and $500 tariff under the Trump administration for my Chinese goods, right? That is not sustainable and makes no sense whatsoever. And so Now, in one of our workshops, we'll show you, you know, kind of where we got to in our textile processing. I told you our story with Patagonia, but there is some equipment being developed in this country that it needs more test runs so that we get what we need out of the decortication equipment. You need stuff, the herd with which you're going to make housing, and you need the textiles or the fiber with which you can make all kind of other cool stuff, like here's your insulation, whatever you're going to make, right? Now, this is one of my proudest photos here. This is when you know you've arrived. I never thought in my life I could say we own a combine, but Anishinaabe Agriculture Institute owns this combine. And we have this combine because somebody needs to collect seeds off of our hemp field. And you collect seeds with the combine. Now, our combine has a really special head on it that came from Bish, I think is who made it. And might need some warm water. Can someone get me some warm water? This could just get me some water. I don't like bottled water. Just get me some water from the faucet or whatever. Yeah. There's some like that. But when that combine arrived, you know that every white farmer in the area was looking at that, wondering what those Indians were going to do with that combine when it showed up, right? Because that's usually something that you don't see a lot of Indian people that own something like that. But we operated that, and Jerry Lee, who's on the far right, is going to be presenting at one of your classes, and he's going to talk about farming and using this piece of equipment to get seeds out of it. So I'm also bringing this to your attention because this is why you need a farmers cooperative, or this is why you need a collective ownership of equipment, because most individual native farmers, most farmers don't have combine. So we need to share equipment to make the whole cool stuff work. That's what we need. We need to be able to share our equipment so that we can, you know, do that. And we learned, and you got to have special, you know, equipment for each kind of seeds you're harvesting, all of that. And that only works if you are, are working together. So, and I don't know how to operate this equipment, but it looks very big and very cool. But we also purchased this piece of equipment. There's Jerry Lee there on the right. Thank you so much. We're trying to figure out how that equipment works, which is a fiber cut 2000 or something like that. And they'll be talking to you about it. But this is, again, the reason why you need a cooperative is because if you're going to be cutting your hemp, baling it into round bales off of your field, you might want this piece of equipment to help make her easier. Now, this is one piece of equipment. We need to get some equipment from USDA or someone. We're going to apply for some grants so that we can ship it around. You know, it took us kind of great trouble to get it to Sisseton, but Sisseton, I'm from White Earth Reservation, and Sisseton is one reservation over. And we sent this equipment to them, and they used it, and then we brought it back. So we're really interested in building a cooperative that's regional, where you could share the big equipment, you know, and we're able to buy that equipment, you know, and we don't have, you know, but not everybody's able to do that. So you might want, 20 farmers have one equipment or something like that. One last reason on the cooperative. This is the Indigenous Hemp and Cannabis Farmers Cooperative, which we've started. And part of the reasons in this class is to just say, look, we're starting this, and it should be in more than just White Earth and Sisseton or Navajo. That's where the three main areas are, and you don't need to, but the cooperative, this is an organizing structure that allows ownership by the farmers and the benefits of the value-added processing to go to the farmers. Because right now, a farmer could sell their hemp bales for $200 a bale, maybe off the field. But what if you could make hemp wood? What if you could make textiles? What if what if the benefits would come to your community? And so a lot of our interest is not just in the technology of the new economy, but in the structure, so that the present structure is not fair. That's why Indian people don't have land and white farmers farm our land. That's what not fair looks like, right? Let's be the people who, the farmers get the benefits from it. And that's what we want to do. And so, in our work, we're working with all kind of farmers. You don't have to be just native to work with us, but I'm just saying we need to work together to develop regionally scaled industries. Those initial pictures I showed you of the hemp industry in Minnesota in 1938, that was 11 hemp mills in southern Minnesota. You need 11 hemp mills again, but you need at least one of them in the Red River Valley or over by the White Earth Reservation, right? And so you need it to be regional so that it's accessible, and you don't want anything that's such an energy hog. I think I already said that you need like a nuclear reactor for it. You want to power it on wind in our area. That's what we want to do. Power it on wind. And build an industry that is sustainable from the plant to the shirt, or whatever it is. This is some of our literature, and through the course we'll make sure that this is available to you. But New Green Revolution, that's what we call this. The last Green Revolution was brought to you by the University of Minnesota, Norman Borlaug. Brought you a lot more grain, a lot more seeds, a lot more equipment, a lot more chemicals, a lot more concentration of ownership. That's not sustainable. We're going for the New Green Revolution. Oh, we have a hand which has been raised. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is really my last slide. There's this, and now happy to answer questions. Tony, here, let me find you here. View you. Yes.
Let me
Can you-
look
you
at
can-
one
Let me
second.
find-
There we go.
Right,
Hey.
right. Hi there, how are you? Yes, I'm happy to open for
Good.
questions. I'm gonna look at I gotta figure out how to view you all. Yes,
Right.
what's your question, my dear?
How do you become, if you're in Michigan, how do you become part of the cooperative that you're talking about? And would you be interested in making that cooperative in Michigan? We have Michigan Tribal Hemp and Cannabis Association, but it would be like easy to have that cooperative here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we can give you like I don't want to say give you the membership information. I think that we want to encourage people to form regional cooperatives and just share collaboratively the information. Because what we're going to share in this class is how we could be successful. We want everybody to be successful. This is the future. The hemp future is not competition, it's cooperation. Because you need enough farmers to produce this, and you want each of those farmers to keep going, have a crop rotation, have good soil, sequester carbon, and work together. So, we're looking for how to, organize the cooperative more broadly. And yes, we want to sign everybody up, and we want everybody to be part and work together on it.
Thank you.
Can you help me find trying to figure out how to make this bigger?
Your screen.
Yeah, see, there's all my
Oh,
cool people.
stop
If
sharing
anybody
your
else has a question,
screen.
you got to raise your hand so I can see you.
Let me take my hand down. But I think you have to stop sharing your screen, Winona, in order to.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so smart. That's like, some days I'm so like not.
Then go to view.
Oh my gosh, thank you. You guys must think of
Gallery.
go to gallery.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, class. Nice to see you. As you see, I'm sitting here at the Cheyenne River Tribe, and I got Allie here helping me out. Everybody's helping me.
I've really been enjoying myself. I'm ecstatic for being in the class. I'm so blessed by it. I'm
Well, it's
excited.
gonna be fun, and I just like I said, this is like intro to class. Welcome to class. Show up every week, and we'll teach you something new. And our goal is that at the end of this, people really understand what we got here, right?
Well,
Oh, there's Sister Tanya. I see her now.
We've been
See a
doing
picture.
native cultivations since 2019, and we grew. We still have our first year's harvest because we didn't have a buyer for it. We had to scale up and make oil so that we could do online sales for selling CBD products to be sustainable. We've been growing every year, but this class is going to help us take that next step, we believe, and advance.
that's what we're hoping, you know, I presented over at United Tribes Technical College yesterday and I was like, you know, tribal colleges should teach this, you know?
Yeah,
You know, so we all know, I mean, and not just tribal colleges, but it needs to be like super accessible and like each class is gonna have cool people at it. That's what I want to say. I'm not, you know, I'm just like class coordinator. Where's your
yeah.
hemp 101? But you know, I'm certainly not, you know, as you saw quickly, I'm out of my league on batteries. So quick.
Well, you're talking about, you talked about earlier that the colleges are teaching how to sell cannabis and how to be lab processors, but we're not really talking about hemp. We have like maybe a section at LSSU that talks a little bit about hemp, but I'm in the cannabis business degree program and they don't even talk about the regulations that are creeping up on us with hemp. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah. And you know, here even talking to the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe, I mean, tribes have, you know, I mean, my tribe does not have a hemp, doesn't issue hemp permits. They only issue you know, they don't issue cannabis permits. They have a cannabis program, but they don't issue cannabis permits to growers, right? But I feel like that, you know, I have federal and state permits. You can still do it. Right. And the more that we develop it, and then as soon as, you know, tribal governments and tribal communities understand that this is what you make, you ain't gonna get high off that field,
Mm,
then I think we're gonna be able to really grow it, you know, or move it a lot further. So I'm super excited about it.
yeah, there's 3 tribes in the state of Michigan that are moving forward with cannabis and having retail operations. And then there's 2 tribes that are really working hard on three actually that are developing their hemp programs, which would be Little Traverse Bay Band and Keweenaw Bay and Grand Traverse Band is actually they're looking for a business plan right now from us. We're gonna give them something that they can do in hemp. So I'm
Oh,
probably
that's
gonna
really
share
good.
the stuff that I get from class here.
Well, I'm gonna encourage, now, did you guys all get the syllabus and stuff for the class?
Uh-uh,
Yes, no?
No.
no.
Well, I
Okay,
mean,
I'm gonna,
it says on the first page, doesn't it, on the website?
and the schedule for the classes?
Yeah.
We do, you guys have a class schedule, right?
Mhm.
Most of you?
Every
Okay.
every,
Yes.
And then what we're hoping to do is to, you know, we did develop a lot of research materials, have those accessible for you. And then as you find more, you know, that'll be good too. But the idea is to really try to make the information accessible so that, you know, if you're Little Traverse Bay Band or whoever it is, like, and you want to do a small hemp plot, this is how you do it.
I'm especially interested
Exactly,
in
getting
hemp
an
lime
outlet.
housing.
Sorry.
Excuse me, which, hold your hand up so I can see who you are. Okay. Yes.
I was saying I'm especially interested in hemp lime housing, and I'm influenced by indigenous forms in West Africa, like Sinufo women, and how we mold with clay and using. I, I'd like to uh, interest people in purchasing a machine called the straw jet, but using it with hemp. So I'm going to start growing hemp. I want to get one of these machines. It was tested in Malawi. It was came on board about 2008. I've been asking someone to hack their tractors for 10, 20 years. Finally, someone did. It's called a straw jet. You can use it with horses or bicycle power or, of course, a machine. But this is what I want to use to produce housing and to grow hemp as the fiber, maybe hemp nettle. together.
Yeah, I think that, there, I believe that Ira and the Navajos were doing hemp adobe,
Okay.
which is kind of what you're talking about, or hemp cob, because I mean, the
Yep.
fibers themselves are they're 3 times the tensile strength of cotton. And they make the rope, you know what I'm saying? So I think in that, the housing form I showed you is really industrial housing, not artisan housing.
Right. Right,
But
it's
artisan
square.
housing
And of
people
course,
move,
I
yeah.
want to get away as a female builder and carpenter and builder and whatever. I really want to get away from this male dominated forms because they affect our consciousness. Yeah. So,
Oh, good. So Ellen O'Keefe found, I see the grassroots fund, Upland Grassroots, that's what it's called. Thanks, Ellen, for finding, our, I'm just looking at some of the chat questions here in addition, so people take a look in the chat. Yeah, so this is, some of the stuff about the biomass. There's going to be there's one class, I believe, kind of on CBDs, and how to cook and make cool stuff with CBDs or THC. But the majority of this class is not on hemp as a medicine. Majority of this class is hemp as industrial products, which I think sounds kind of odd, but you know what I'm saying? The textile, the building, because that's the least known and has such great potential. So we'll try to answer other, questions as we go, and people who are in there will do cool stuff. Now, who else had raised a hand? I see Tony, your hand is back up, and then I can't pronounce the other lady's name.
Okay, it's Kajua.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you for offering this class. Yeah, I'm learning. My name's Kajua. I'm in Wisconsin. And I'm of course part of the Hmong tribe, if you would call that. And we've been growing hemp for, thousands of years. And as displaced refugees in this country, a lot of the hemp and a lot of the materials that we still use for our clothing comes from overseas. And you're absolutely right. We originated from southern parts of China. So a lot of our traditional clothes were all made with hemp, and it's the most durable products. But I'm on here because there's a lot more interest with younger farmers, Hmong farmers who are interested in learning about hemp and growing hemp in Wisconsin and Minnesota. And so even if it's just an acre, we want to test it out. And it's really for twofolds so that we can use some of the products as textiles, but really it's just to teach our people century-old techniques around hemp that none of us got to learn because we became displaced as refugees. And so I'm really interested in just maybe learning anything that I can from this class so that I can take it back to a group of Hmong women who are actually really interested in a farming co-op, particularly around hemp. So thank you for having this class.
That is so great. I believe that some came in, like I was trying to figure out, we could produce some hemp for you if you wanted some for learning, you know what I'm saying? But do you need it like how do you need it? Right? You know what I'm saying is that was a question. I did have some visits. I went to the textile center, and there was all kind of hemp textiles there. And thank you for bringing hemp into the world.
Mhm.
And I just want to see y'all be able to make your artisan hemp. I mean, some beautiful, beautiful clothing. And I do know that there's a huge refugee population of Hmong people that probably want hemp. So I think it's great that you're here. Craig. Hi. Bonjour. You got to
Bonjour.
unmute. There. Okay.
Yeah. Hi, nice to see you again. I had a question. So up here in the north, it gets a little cold, as you know. Again, what is the rating for the insulation?
I think that the housing is about a 24.
24? Okay,
Something like
great.
that. You know, you might need to wait till the housing class is. But I
Yeah.
know that when you make something a foot thick, it's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, because I'm actually going out to community this weekend and we're starting to build our greenhouse. So those are kind of things that we're going to be looking at for the community that I'm working with right now. So I'm glad to be a
Yeah.
part of this class. And yeah, thank you for answering the question.
Yes, thank you for being a part of the class. And I think Manitoba is the largest hemp producing province in Canada, right?
I'm actually in Ontario right now.
Yeah. So I guess you'd have to, but there's plenty, you got some long summer days.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys could grow hemp, but hope, so I think it's great. I did a hempcrete greenhouse. And I mean, we're learning,
Yeah,
but it's better to learn together. And so you make fewer mistakes, hopefully, right?
yeah. So maybe someday we can get you up here and teach us how to build those hempcrete greenhouses.
I'm not much of a builder, but we did do it. Pretty simple, but yeah. Okay. Who else?
Thank you.
Was there another raised hand here? Thank you. Thank you, Craig. Thanks for being here. Miigwech. I see there's some in the.
I have another question.
Yes, please.
How much redded material do you think that we need to make little square box packaging? Is that a fairy tale dream of mine, or can I do that? And how much of the material do I need, and what are you talking about with the mold on it? Because if I let it sit out in the field for too long, it's probably covered in mold.
It's I don't know if I can really answer your question. I could say depends on how many boxes you want to make, and it's a part of that. But if one of our presenters, I think, is Ira Vandever, and his sister, that weaver, has making like artisan, like paper for like her earring backs or earrings, you know what I'm saying, cards, and she's just using the byproduct of her hemp that she's not weaving, right? And she's actually making hemp wool paper. Like, it's way above my head. But my point is that our peoples can make, before we had experts who made all this stuff, we all made it, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I think you got enough to, I
Try
think you definitely got it. Yeah, you could do it. You don't need a lot to just do that. And you can buy this stuff online too. You can just go, oh, I gotta buy this, go look, you can buy anything on Amazon or wherever. You can just go, and then mess around with it, see what you can do.
So I can make. Thank you.
I'll take a couple more questions. I don't know, are we supposed to be on for another 5 minutes? Is that it? Is that when class is over? Did I tell you that I don't even know what time zone I'm
4:30.
in right now? Huh?
4:30, I think, or
Okay,
3:30
we
your
might end a
time,
little bit early
Central.
today. Because that's 4. I don't know what time I'm in.
It's 1:50.
It's what? And here,
55, yeah. You're in Mountain Time Zone.
I know, I see what it says here. Okay. Did I have some more questions? And then I'm just trying to find my team at home to see if they're helping on making sure that everybody's got what they need.
I saw something that said that we're going to be getting some material mailed to us. What's getting mailed to us?
I think you meant
I think that
emailed.
was-
You corrected
I
it.
think that's email.
Oh, it's emailed. Okay.
If it wasn't uploaded, we will email it to them. So whoever we have your email, I assume, and Esther. Let me just see if I can get Esther on here. What other materials you need, but mostly it's you're going to get stuff in the syllabus. So all the information is in Moodle and you're shipping it into something else. Is that what you're doing? Okay, I wish you were on here because I got 27 students asking me questions. Yeah, you should. But you're telling you're gonna email stuff, it's in the wrong format, and so you're gonna change the format because that'd be easier? You're gonna email it today to the 27 people or the 30 people that are on this, right? She got it. Okay, thank you. Okay, good. She said she's emailing all of you. I thought she would be on here to help me. So you can email me if you didn't. Who did you guys have her contact? Did you have a contact on this? Did you have Esther? Or did you have info? Yeah, Esther's your girl. Esther's your woman. She's doing all the logistics and the follow-up. I'm just the initial class presenter here. Katie, what you got for a question?
Hello,
Nice to see
everyone.
you.
Nice to see you, Nona. Thank you so much, and to see everyone joining in today. This is very exciting. I'm actually calling in from central Wisconsin today, and this might be covered in later classes, but I had been working in Australia with a lot of regenerative farmers for the past couple of years, have recently returned, and some of the methods there were about sowing annual and perennial crops into pasture. So rebuilding pasture and the native grasses, and then harvesting the cash crops over the top. And it seems like hemp is such a tall crop that I wonder if there's the possibility to grow it within those native pastures so that you don't have to do rotational cropping as much, but you can just keep sowing it into the native savannas or natural pastures. The yield is less, but there's other benefits, I suppose.
You know, I think you could do all kind of stuff with it. But if you're trying to do fiber hemp, you need patches that are really close together so they're tall plants.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's why you're not going to spread it out in your field.
Yeah.
You're going to have, so maybe you have, it depends on how labor intensive you want to be. And, it's not a perennial, but it will reseed itself if you leave it. But you got to add more, like as, was shown in the first slide, that's some giant hemp, and that was volunteer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, so if it were to be, it'd have to be a plant that wouldn't need a lot of sunlight.
Oh no, this needs sunlight. And when it grows tall, it also what's that called? It's like carpets. It creates a canopy that weeds don't grow through.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If it was going to be intercrop with something, it would need
No,
to.
you don't intercrop hemp. She needs her own. I mean, from what I gather, you really want it to be close together. But if you're trying to grow CBD for, other varieties, go ahead. And the other thing, which I just talked to the Cheyenne River tribe, so I forgot if I mentioned this, but like these plants are male and female. Did I already talk about sex and plants yet?
Mentioned it just a little bit when you showed us the picture that the plants were female, but didn't go into depth. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So hemp plants are male and female. Right. And it's really important because marijuana growers do not want to grow near a hemp field because the boys will spread their pollen everywhere. That's the way boys are. Right. And so I'm just saying that because that's like plant sex. And so I went out there and I grow this field and I'm looking at it, and someone occurred to me, so if I just grew the CBD girl, someone occurred to me of what did they say? Gender side. They were like, you're killing all the male plants. I was like, oh my God, I can't win. But when you're growing marijuana or when you're growing CBD, you just want girls, right? That's what you want. But in the hemp field, then what happens is that the males and females, grow together. The males pollinate the field. The bees love the field, but they're males and females all over there. And then at the end of the season, the males are exhausted and dead, and the females are still going. It's the funniest thing I ever saw, right? So I'm just saying, and then you harvest all of them together, and because you're just going after the plants for their stalks and stuff. But yeah, it's super interesting plant. But this is, so this is an important thing because people are like, oh, I'm going to go plant some marijuana in your hemp field. I was like, it's going to ruin your marijuana. Don't do that, buddy. And so I'm just saying, this is, you got to be mindful of what you're doing. Don't grow it next to your marijuana field. Don't grow it next to your marijuana plants. Grow it from what, you know, protect your marijuana from all that male pollen.
Thank you.
Mhm. Katie, was that, you're done with your question? Any other questions today? I will check and see. And then I might just call us off a little bit early. Because that might be enough for the first day. But if you got more questions, I'm happy to answer them. And you could also email us for stuff. But you know, our goal is to have by the end of the day today, y'all get your links.
Okay.
You know, as you have gathered. I mean, actually, so I'm squatting over at Cheyenne River. I was on someone else's computer, but we still pulled this off, right? I'm not the person to ask about the technology, right? I was like, yikes, yikes. Tony, did you have another question?
How far have you experienced? How far does the pollen travel
I don't know.
from your male hemp plants?
A ways.
I heard it was like
I mean,
10 miles, but I don't know the facts.
I don't think it's that bad, really. You know,
Yeah.
so the truth is that you saw those hemp girls that I grew,
Mhm.
and across the road is my hemp field. But there is a bunch of buildings and a greenhouse between them. And the girls are kind of, but you know, I did get, you know, my girls messed, like, got all seedy and not, and they also went hermaphrodite, and they also turned into male. You know what I'm saying? If you get
Yeah.
into into growing marijuana or CBD hemp varieties, you got female plants turning to male plants. You got all kind of stuff going on in there. And I didn't really know about all that, but you know, I'm just saying, you got to keep, it's just like a giant lesbian colony of girls.
Mhm.
And you don't want to have any
That's the one.
boys around.
Nope.
So that's just the way it is. But you know, I don't know what to say. That's just the truth. And then, but the boys, you know, you need the boys in your hemp field. So keep them a little bit apart. Grow your girls like behind something, or maybe in a greenhouse or high tunnel. Your girls will be a lot happier, and they won't turn into boys. I mean, you guys always got to look. Anybody who's grown a CBD variety or marijuana, you know that you got to look and see who's trying to turn into a boy this week. Oh my gosh, you know, tricky. Yeah, let's just not go down that path. But you understand what I'm saying? There's a lot of sex in the plants.
Well, we planted 5 acres with 4,500 spaced apart I think it was every 5 feet.
How'd that work?
The aisles were, and then we used the dreaded black plastic, and drip irrigation, and we had to walk the aisles every day to watch for male plants, and then we had to pull them up. We were doing that all the way to the end,
Yeah.
but it went okay. It went all right. I didn't get a lot of seed in the females, so I think we caught them in time.
Yeah. I mean, plants gonna have sex.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so it's, you know, be mindful. That's all I'm saying, is be mindful, you know. And in some places like Oregon, I was raised in Southern Oregon, and I'm just, you know, kind of sad at what happened there. You know, they used to raise pears when I was a kid, and then they went to grapes, they cut down the orchards, and then they went to marijuana, and they got rid of all the food. And I was just like, and then they're mad if the hemp growers grow in there because it's going to mess up their marijuana plants. And then they had a big fire, and all their plants died anyway because they all got smoke damage. So I was like, that's what greed will do for you. You know, be responsible. You know, that's part of what this class is about, is like, you know, grow because it's the right thing to do, not because you're going to make $1 million. The people I saw starting on this, and they're not there. You know, this is a long haul thing, but it's super exciting. I'm very excited about it. And I'm so excited that you guys are all joining us in it. So, okay, team, I'm going to see you next week. Is that fair? It was very fun meeting you all.
Great.
And let's grow hemp. just remember, like, you're gonna have to start planning pretty soon. So think about this. Well, Esther can help you find if you're interested in growing a test plot, seeds or whatever. We can do that. But we're hoping that at the end of this, y'all feel like maybe you want to grow some hemp. I don't know if that's what we think we're doing, but yeah. I think it'd be great. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Miigwech.
Good.
Have a good day. Thank you for your patience with my technology. Bye.